Welcome to Unsolved Historical Mysteries. Pompeii's Darkest Mysteries Uncovering the Cursed Relics. Chapter 1. Introduction. What are the cursed relics of Pompeii? Section 1. The discovery of Pompeii and the history of its excavation. Pompeii was once a thriving Roman city, filled with bustling streets, luxurious villas, and vibrant marketplaces. However, in AD 79, a catastrophic eruption of Mount Vesuvius buried the city under meters of volcanic ash, sealing it away for centuries. The disaster turned Pompeii into an unparalleled time capsule of ancient Roman life. But for generations, its existence remained hidden from the world, a lost city beneath the ash. When Vesuvius erupted, it unleashed a deadly cloud of gas, ash, and pumice that suffocated thousands and buried the city in just hours. Buildings, streets, and even human bodies were sealed beneath layers of volcanic debris, preserving them in astonishing detail. Over time, vegetation covered the land, and Pompeii was forgotten. Local farmers occasionally uncovered fragments of pottery or stone structures, but they had no idea they were standing above a lost city. The accidental rediscovery. The first recorded rediscovery occurred in the late 16th century, when architect Domenico Fontana was digging a water channel. He stumbled upon ancient walls with frescoes and inscriptions but reburied the site, possibly due to the explicit Roman artwork that conflicted with the values of the Catholic Church. Pompeii remained hidden until 1748, when King Charles III of Spain ordered excavations. Unlike nearby Herculaneum, which was buried under hardened rock, Pompeii was covered in softer ash, making it easier to dig. As archaeologists unearthed the city, they were stunned by the level of preservation. Homes, frescoes, and even food remained intact, as if frozen in time. However, these early excavations were poorly managed, with artifacts taken haphazardly and looters stealing valuable relics. The evolution of archaeology. In the mid-19th century, Italian archaeologist Giuseppe Fiorelli introduced systematic excavation techniques, revolutionizing the study of Pompeii. He developed the famous plaster cast method, filling voids left by decomposed bodies with plaster to create hauntingly realistic figures of the victims' final moments. Excavations revealed temples, theaters, baths, and even graffiti, offering insight into daily Roman life. Today, modern techniques like 3D scanning and chemical analysis continue to unlock new secrets, proving that Pompeii's mysteries are far from fully solved. Section 2. The unusual artifacts found buried under the ashes. When archaeologists began uncovering Pompeii, they expected to find remnants of an ordinary Roman city: homes, streets, temples, and marketplaces. However, what they discovered went far beyond typical ruins. Among the preserved structures and frescoes, they found artifacts that defied explanation, hinting at the more mysterious aspects of Pompeian life. These objects, hidden beneath layers of ash for nearly 1,700 years, raised questions about the city's culture, beliefs, and even the final moments before its destruction. Perfectly preserved everyday objects. One of the most fascinating aspects of Pompeii is how everyday life was frozen in time. Unlike other ancient sites that deteriorated over centuries, Pompeii's sudden burial ensured that even fragile items remained intact. Archaeologists found loaves of bread still in ovens, amphorae filled with wine, and carbonized fruits left on dining tables. These discoveries provided an unparalleled glimpse into the diet and domestic habits of ancient Romans. Additionally, perfectly preserved tools, coins, and household items were uncovered, offering insight into the city's economy and daily routines. In one shop, a collection of surgical instruments suggested that Pompeii had skilled physicians. Some of these tools were so advanced that they closely resemble modern medical equipment. Mysterious and unusual artifacts. Beyond ordinary household items, archaeologists discovered objects that seemed out of place or carried strange symbolic meanings. One of the most puzzling finds was a collection of lead tablets inscribed with curses. These depictions, as they were called, were used in Roman magic to invoke supernatural forces against enemies. Many were found near wells and graves, suggesting they were part of secret rituals. Another strange discovery was a set of humanoid figurines with exaggerated features. Some believe they represented deities or spirits, while others suspect they were used in rituals to ward off evil. The presence of such items suggests that, despite Rome's advanced civilization, superstition and magic played a significant role in daily life. Artifacts that challenge scientific explanation. Some objects found in Pompeii have baffled researchers. Among them is a glass-like material formed by extreme heat, unlike anything typically produced in Roman times. Some scientists believe it was created during the eruption when temperatures exceeded 1,000 degrees Celsius, melting sand and rock into an unusual substance. Additionally, archaeologists found a set of metal objects fused together in an unexplainable way, as if they had been subjected to an intense, rapid heat burst. These artifacts raise questions about the true power of Vesuvius's eruption and the strange chemical reactions that took place beneath the ash. Pompeii's artifacts continue to intrigue researchers, offering both ordinary and extraordinary glimpses into the past. With every excavation, new mysteries emerge, proving that this ancient city has not yet revealed all its secrets. Section 3. Why are these artifacts linked to a supposed curse? Pompeii's artifacts are more than just historical remnants. They have long been associated with an eerie legend known as the Curse of Pompeii. Many visitors, archaeologists, and even tourists claim to have experienced misfortune after interacting with relics from the city. Some believe these objects carry a supernatural curse, while others argue that psychological and historical factors are responsible for this eerie phenomenon. But how did these artifacts become linked to a supposed curse? The legend of the Pompeii curse. The idea of a Pompeii curse originates from the sheer tragedy of the city's destruction. Thousands perished in an instant, and their final moments were preserved in haunting detail. This level of devastation led to a belief that disturbing the ruins might provoke the spirits of the dead. In the 20th century, stories began to circulate about tourists who had stolen small artifacts, pieces of pottery, stones, or coins, only to suffer terrible misfortunes afterward. Letters were sent to the Pompeii Museum from remorseful travelers who claimed that after taking a relic, they experienced accidents, illness, or financial ruin. Many begged for their stolen items to be returned in hopes of lifting the curse. Mysterious cases of bad luck. While some dismiss these claims as superstition, others point to eerie patterns. Archaeologists working on the site have also reported unexplained accidents, sudden illnesses, and even premature deaths. In one case, a well-known researcher fell from scaffolding while studying frescoes, and another succumbed to an unexpected illness shortly after unearthing a significant relic. Additionally, the curse seems to affect even those indirectly connected to the site. A famous case involved a journalist who wrote an article mocking the Pompeii curse, only to suffer a series of unfortunate events shortly afterward. These incidents fueled the belief that the spirits of Pompeii's victims seek revenge on those who disturbed their final resting place. Psychological and cultural explanations. Skeptics argue that the so-called curse can be explained through psychology and coincidence. The power of suggestion is strong. If someone believes they are cursed, they may become anxious, leading to accidents or misfortunes they might otherwise ignore. Additionally, returning stolen artifacts may be an act of guilt, rather than genuine belief in a curse. Another explanation lies in cultural narratives. The idea of disturbing the dead and facing consequences appears in myths worldwide, from Egyptian tomb curses to haunted battlefields. The Pompeii curse fits into this tradition, reinforcing the idea that some places are meant to be left undisturbed. Regardless of the truth, the legend of Pompeii's curse continues to captivate people. Whether supernatural or psychological, it adds yet another layer of mystery to a city already filled with secrets. Chapter 2: The Destruction of Pompeii and its Historical Background. Section 1: The Terrifying Eruption of Mount Vesuvius in AD 79. Pompeii's destruction was one of the most catastrophic natural disasters of the ancient world. The eruption of Mount Vesuvius in AD 79 was so violent that it buried the city under meters of ash and pumice within hours. Thousands of lives were lost, and an entire civilization was wiped out in a single day. But what exactly happened during the eruption, and why was it so devastating? The warning signs before the disaster. Before the eruption, Pompeii had experienced several warning signs, though the people of the city likely did not recognize them as precursors to disaster. Small tremors had been occurring for years, even damaging buildings in AD 62. However, earthquakes were common in the region, and the Romans saw them as minor disturbances rather than signs of an impending eruption. In the days leading up to the catastrophe, wells dried up, animals behaved strangely, and the ground occasionally shook. But with no concept of volcanic eruptions as we understand them today, the residents of Pompeii continued their daily lives, unaware that their world was about to end. The first deadly blast. On the morning of August 24, AD 79, Mount Vesuvius erupted with incredible force, sending a column of ash and gas more than 30 kilometers into the sky. The blast was so loud that it was heard as far away as Rome. A thick cloud of pumice and ash began to fall on Pompeii, blanketing the city and causing widespread panic. Many residents attempted to flee, but others sought shelter inside their homes, believing the eruption would pass. Unfortunately, this decision would seal their fate. As the ash accumulated, roofs collapsed under the weight, crushing those inside. The air became thick with volcanic dust, making it nearly impossible to breathe. The final, lethal surge. The most devastating phase of the eruption came in the early hours of the next morning, when pyroclastic surges, fast-moving clouds of superheated gas, ash, and rock, rushed down the volcano's slopes at speeds of up to 700 kilometers per hour. These surges engulfed Pompeii and the surrounding areas, instantly killing anyone still present. Temperatures within the surges reached up to 500 C, enough to vaporize flesh and cause instant death. Many victims were found in frozen postures, their bodies contorted in their final moments. The once thriving city was now a lifeless, smoldering ruin, buried under nearly 6 meters of volcanic debris. Pompeii remained lost for centuries, preserved by the very disaster that destroyed it. Today, it serves as a haunting reminder of nature's power and the fragility of human civilization. Section 2. How the volcanic ash preserved the city and its people. Pompeii's destruction was swift and absolute. But ironically, the very force that wiped out the city also preserved it. The volcanic ash and pumice that rained down from Mount Vesuvius acted as a natural time capsule, sealing buildings, artifacts, and even human remains in an almost pristine state. Unlike other ancient ruins that deteriorated over centuries, Pompeii was frozen in time, offering an unparalleled glimpse into the past. The perfect conditions for preservation. The key to Pompeii's remarkable state of preservation lies in the nature of the eruption. The initial phase buried the city under a thick layer of pumice and ash, protecting it from erosion, weathering, and looting. Unlike other archaeological sites that were gradually abandoned and repurposed, Pompeii was sealed off entirely, untouched for nearly 1,700 years. The volcanic material also created an oxygen-free environment, preventing organic matter from decomposing as quickly as it normally would. This is why archaeologists were able to recover charred loaves of bread, wooden furniture, and even delicate frescoes that retained their original colors. The hauntingly preserved victims. One of the most chilling aspects of Pompeii's preservation is the human remains. When the pyroclastic surges hit, they incinerated everything in their path. The bodies of victims were instantly buried under the ash, which hardened over time as the organic material inside decomposed. It left behind hollow spaces in the hardened ash. In the 19th century, archaeologist Giuseppe Fiorelli developed a technique to fill these voids with plaster, creating detailed casts of the victims' final moments. These figures reveal haunting details: people curled up in fear, covering their faces, or clutching loved ones as they were overcome by the disaster. The plaster casts of Pompeii's residents are among the most powerful archaeological discoveries ever made. Buildings and art frozen in time. The preservation of Pompeii's architecture is equally astonishing. Homes, temples, and bathhouses were found nearly intact, complete with their original decorations. Frescoes depicting Roman gods, mythological scenes, and everyday life were uncovered with vibrant colors still visible. Graffiti scrawled on walls revealed the thoughts of Pompeii's citizens, from political slogans to personal messages. Some inscriptions even seemed eerily prophetic, with phrases like "enjoy life while you can" written shortly before the eruption. Thanks to the preserving power of volcanic ash, Pompeii remains one of the most extraordinary archaeological sites in the world. It is a city frozen in its final moments, offering an eerie but invaluable window into the past. Section 3. What excavations have revealed about daily life in Pompeii? The excavation of Pompeii has provided one of the most detailed glimpses into daily life in ancient Rome. Unlike other ruins, which often offer only scattered remains of grand structures, Pompeii presents an entire city frozen in time. From lavish villas to humble bakeries, from bustling markets to graffiti-covered walls, the remnants of Pompeii tell a vivid story of how people lived, worked, and socialized nearly 2,000 years ago. A city of luxury and leisure, Pompeii was a prosperous city, home to both the wealthy elite and common citizens. Many luxurious villas were uncovered, adorned with colorful frescoes, intricate mosaics, and elaborate fountains. These homes often had private gardens, reflecting the Roman appreciation for nature and relaxation. Some even had heated floors and sophisticated plumbing systems, showing the technological advancement of the time. Public bathhouses played a central role in Pompeian society, serving not just as places for hygiene, but also as social hubs where people gathered to discuss politics, business, and daily gossip. Amphitheaters and brothels were also found, indicating a society that valued entertainment and pleasure. The marketplace and everyday work. One of the most fascinating aspects of Pompeii is its well-preserved commercial areas. The city had a thriving marketplace, with food stalls, shops, and taverns lining the streets. Archaeologists found carbonized bread loaves in bakeries, revealing how Romans baked their food. Wine bars, known as thermopylae, served hot meals, much like modern fast food restaurants. Graffiti found on shop walls indicated competitive business rivalries, with merchants advertising their goods and services. Some inscriptions even contained political endorsements, showing how commerce and politics were deeply intertwined in daily life. Personal stories preserved in graffiti and art. Perhaps the most intimate insights into Pompeian life come from the graffiti and inscriptions left behind by its people. Unlike grand monuments built to commemorate rulers and victories, these writings reflect the voices of ordinary citizens. Love notes, humorous remarks, and even insults were scribbled onto walls. One particularly haunting inscription reads, "Enjoy life while you can, because tomorrow is uncertain." This message, likely written before the eruption, serves as a chilling reminder of how abruptly Pompeii's vibrant life came to an end. Through these discoveries, Pompeii offers an extraordinary window into the everyday experiences of ancient Romans. It is not just a city of ruins. It is a city of stories, preserved for eternity by the ash that once buried it. Chapter 3. Mysterious Relic Number 1. The Enigmatic Plaster Casts. Section 1. The Haunting Figures of Pompeii's Last Moments. Among the most chilling discoveries in Pompeii are the plaster casts of its victims. Men, women, and children frozen in their final moments. These figures are not mere skeletons, they capture expressions of pain, fear, and resignation, offering a hauntingly personal glimpse into the last seconds of the city's inhabitants. The tragic beauty of these casts has made them one of the most iconic and emotionally powerful aspects of Pompeii's legacy. The tragic final moments. When Mount Vesuvius erupted, thousands of people were caught off guard. Some tried to flee, while others sought shelter inside their homes. Many suffocated from the thick volcanic ash, while others were killed instantly by the superheated pyroclastic surges. Their bodies were buried beneath layers of ash and pumice, their shapes preserved as voids in the hardened volcanic material. Unlike typical archaeological remains, Pompeii's casts show real people in their final moments. Some victims were found curled up in desperation, shielding their faces, while others clung to loved ones. One of the most heart-wrenching casts is that of a mother and child, their bodies intertwined as they perished together. The discovery of the plaster cast method. For centuries, the bodies of Pompeii's victims remained hidden beneath the ash. It wasn't until the 19th century that archaeologist Giuseppe Fiorelli discovered a revolutionary way to preserve them. He realized that the decomposed bodies had left hollow spaces in the hardened ash, acting as natural molds. By carefully injecting liquid plaster into these voids and letting it harden, he was able to recreate the exact shapes of the victims as they had died. This technique not only preserved the physical forms of the victims, but also captured intricate details, folds in clothing, facial expressions, and even the textures of hair. The result was an eerie yet powerful reminder of Pompeii's sudden destruction. A window into the past. The plaster casts of Pompeii are more than just archaeological artifacts. They are a direct connection to the past. Unlike bones or ruins, These figures bring history to life in a deeply personal way. They remind us that the people of Pompeii were not just distant figures from the past, but individuals with hopes, fears, and lives that were tragically cut short. Today, these casts are preserved and displayed in museums and at the Pompeii site itself, serving as a powerful testament to one of history's most devastating natural disasters. They continue to evoke strong emotions, ensuring that the story of Pompeii is never forgotten. Section 2. The strange poses and expressions that defy explanation. The plaster casts of Pompeii's victims are haunting in their realism, capturing people at the precise moment they were overcome by disaster. However, some of these figures display poses and expressions that seem unusual, even unnatural, rather than simply collapsing or lying still. Some victims appear frozen in distressing contortions, as if caught in an unseen struggle. These strange postures have puzzled archaeologists for decades, raising questions about the final moments of Pompeii's doomed inhabitants. The agonized postures. One of the most striking aspects of the Pompeii casts is the way many victims seem to have died in positions of extreme agony. Some figures appear to be writhing on the ground, their limbs twisted, hands clenched, and faces seemingly frozen in silent screams. This has led to speculation that they suffered a slow and painful death. However, scientific analysis suggests a different explanation. When the pyroclastic surges hit Pompeii, temperatures soared to around 500 degrees Celsius (932 degrees Fahrenheit). The intense heat would have caused the muscles of the victims to contract instantly, leading to a phenomenon called cadaveric spasm, a rare condition where a person's body stiffens in a pose of extreme tension at the moment of death. This explains why some victims appear as if they were reaching out, shielding their faces, or even gripping objects in their final moments. The crouching mystery. Another unexplained phenomenon is the presence of casts in unusual, crouching or fetal-like positions. Some victims appear to have curled into themselves, as if bracing for impact or seeking shelter. This has led some researchers to speculate that people were trying to shield themselves from the deadly surge of ash and gas. Others believe this pose may indicate a cultural reaction to impending disaster, perhaps a form of instinctive self-protection. Interestingly, some of these figures resemble depictions of the dying in ancient Roman art. Could it be that the Pompeians, realizing their fate, assumed postures associated with death in their society? Faces frozen in terror. Many casts capture facial features in shocking detail, with expressions that appear locked in terror or anguish. While it is easy to assume that these faces reflect the emotions of the victims at the moment of death, there is another possible explanation. When exposed to extreme heat, skin can tighten and contract, sometimes giving the illusion of widened eyes and open mouths. This effect may have contributed to the eerie, lifelike quality of the Pompeii casts. While science can explain many of these strange details, there are still mysteries surrounding Pompeii's final moments. Each plaster figure tells a unique story, offering an unfiltered glimpse into the raw horror of an ancient catastrophe. Section 3. What modern research has uncovered about these victims. For years, the plaster casts of Pompeii's victims were seen primarily as tragic relics, haunting reminders of an ancient catastrophe. However, with advancements in modern technology, researchers have been able to uncover new insights about who these people were, how they lived, and even how they died. Through CT scans, DNA analysis, and forensic studies, scientists are peeling back the layers of ash, to reveal the deeper human stories hidden within these figures. Scanning the past CT imaging and 3D reconstruction. One of the most groundbreaking developments in Pompeii research has been the use of CT scanning to examine the plaster casts without damaging them. Since the 2010s, archaeologists have used high-resolution imaging to peer inside these casts, revealing skeletal structures that had remained untouched for nearly 2 millennia. The scans have provided fascinating details about the victims' health and physical characteristics. Many Pompeians had well-preserved teeth, suggesting a diet rich in fiber, but low in processed sugars, something rare in modern societies. Some skeletons showed signs of arthritis, indicating that even in an advanced Roman city, physical labor took its toll. Others bore evidence of healed fractures, proving that medical care was available and somewhat effective in ancient Pompeii. Who were these people? DNA unlocks their origins. DNA analysis has opened up entirely new possibilities for understanding Pompeii's population. In 2022, researchers successfully sequenced the genome of a Pompeii victim. For the first time, the results suggested that the individual had genetic markers, linking them to people from central Italy, proving that Pompeii's population was not as diverse as once thought. However, other studies have found traces of genetic material from North Africa and the Middle East, hinting at trade connections and the movement of people across the Roman Empire. Further DNA studies could reveal family relationships among victims, helping archaeologists reconstruct Pompeii's social networks. Were certain groups more likely to survive? Did families stay together until the end? These are the kinds of questions that future genetic research may help answer. How did they really die? Solving the final mystery. For a long time, historians believed that most of Pompeii's victims suffocated from the ash that filled the air during the eruption. However, modern forensic analysis suggests a more horrifying reality. Many people died instantly from the intense heat of the pyroclastic surges. Research has shown that temperatures in Pompeii could have reached 500 to 600 degrees Celsius, 932 to 1112 degrees Fahrenheit during the eruption's final phase, hot enough to vaporize soft tissue in seconds. Some skulls show signs of explosive brain expansion, a gruesome effect where the intense heat causes the brain to boil and the skull to crack. These findings confirm that many of Pompeii's residents never had a chance to escape. Despite these chilling discoveries, modern research has also helped humanize the victims of Pompeii. Through science, we are no longer just looking at lifeless statues of the past. We are rediscovering the people who lived, worked, and dreamed in this lost city. Chapter 4. Mysterious Relic Number 2: The Discovery of Magical Artifacts. Section 1. Strange amulets, charms, and ritual objects found in Pompeii. Pompeii was not only a city of luxury and commerce, but also a place where magic, superstition, and religious rituals played a vital role in daily life. Among the many artifacts uncovered, archaeologists have found an astonishing number of amulets, charms, and ritual objects, items that reveal the deep beliefs of Pompeii's citizens in supernatural protection and divine influence. These objects, often intricately designed and made from various materials, offer a glimpse into the spiritual world of an ancient civilization frozen in time. Amulets for protection and luck. One of the most common discoveries in Pompeii is small, protective amulets, known as phylacteries or bulla plural bulli. These were often worn by children and women as charms to ward off evil spirits and bring good fortune. Made from materials such as gold, bronze, and bone. These amulets frequently featured symbols of gods, mythical creatures, or magical inscriptions. Some of the most intriguing examples include the evil eye Malocchio amulets with eyes or depictions of hands, making protective gestures, meant to guard against curses. Phallic charms surprisingly common. These were believed to ward off bad luck and bring prosperity, reflecting Roman beliefs in fertility and protection. Animal symbols figures of snakes, frogs, and owls, each linked to different protective qualities in Roman folklore. These objects were often carried on the body, placed in homes, or even buried with the dead to ensure safety in the afterlife. Magical rings and inscribed talismans. Many rings and pendants found in Pompeii bear magical inscriptions, known as depictions. Curse tablets or apotropaic symbols meant to repel evil. Some rings were engraved with names of deities, such as Isis, the Egyptian goddess, or Mercury, the Roman god of travelers and commerce, invoking divine protection. Some notable discoveries include a ring with a carved intaglio of Harpocrates, the god of silence and secrets, suggesting it may have been worn by someone involved in hidden knowledge or mystical practices. A pendant featuring a snake coiled around a staff, a symbol associated with healing and medical protection, possibly belonging to a doctor or healer. Charms inscribed with Latin spells, believed to enhance love, success, or ward off enemies. These talismans indicate that Pompeii's residents relied heavily on both religion and magic to navigate daily life. Evidence of ritualistic practices. Beyond personal charms, excavations have uncovered larger ritual objects, suggesting that public and private ceremonies were a key part of Pompeian society. In some homes, archaeologists found small altars, often with burned offerings or traces of animal sacrifices, indicating that families conducted their own religious rites. One particularly mysterious discovery was a sealed room, containing a collection of ritual items, including miniature statues, strange markings on the walls, and the remains of burned herbs, possibly linked to secretive magical practices. This raises the possibility that certain Pompeians engaged in underground mystical traditions, blending Roman, Greek, and even Egyptian influences. The sheer number of magical objects found in Pompeii suggests that, despite being a Roman city known for its sophisticated culture, superstition and belief in the supernatural were deeply woven into everyday life. These artifacts continue to shed light on how ancient people sought to protect themselves from unseen forces, something humans still do in various ways today. Section 2. The Roman beliefs in magic, curses, and supernatural forces. Magic and superstition played a significant role in Roman society, and Pompeii was no exception. The people of this ancient city believed in the power of charms, curses, and supernatural forces to influence their daily lives. From protective amulets to deadly curse tablets, Pompeians used magic, both as a shield and a weapon, blurring the lines between religion, superstition, and the mystical. Magic in everyday life. In Pompeii, magic was deeply integrated into daily activities. Many carried protective charms to guard against illness, bad luck, or the evil eye. Markets sold herbs and potions with supposed mystical properties, and some individuals, known as magus, sorcerers, were believed to have special knowledge of spells and enchantments. Magic also played a role in love and business. Spells to attract romantic partners were common, and some shopkeepers even used enchanted symbols to bring prosperity or curse their rivals. One inscription found in Pompeii reads, "May my enemy's business fail." and his customers come to me instead. The power of curses. Among the most chilling magical artifacts found in Pompeii are depictions, thin lead tablets inscribed with curses. These were often rolled up and buried in graves, wells, or even nailed to temple walls, calling upon gods or spirits to harm an enemy. Some of the curses discovered include a plea for revenge against an unfaithful lover, asking the gods to make them suffer. A curse against a thief, demanding that their hands be paralyzed. A competition curse, where one actor sought divine intervention to ruin a rival's performance. These tablets highlight how Romans used supernatural forces not just for protection, but also as tools for power and vengeance. Ghosts, omens, and the afterlife. Romans believed in spirits of the dead, known as manes, who could bring blessings or misfortune. Many homes in Pompeii had shrines dedicated to ancestral spirits, ensuring they remained at peace. However, restless ghosts were feared, and people performed rituals to banish lingering spirits. Omens were also taken seriously. Sudden storms, strange animal behavior, or unusual dreams were often seen as warnings from the gods. Given Pompeii's destruction, some now wonder, were there signs of the coming disaster that people failed to interpret? Pompeii's magical artifacts and inscriptions reveal a society where superstition was as strong as logic, and the unseen world was just as real as the physical one. Even today, these ancient beliefs continue to fascinate, reminding us that the fear of the unknown is timeless. Section 3. Why were these ritual objects so common in Pompeii? Pompeii's ruins have yielded an extraordinary number of ritual objects, magical charms, and religious artifacts, far more than what is typically found in other Roman cities. This raises an intriguing question: why was Pompeii so deeply connected to magic and superstition? Several factors, including its location, diverse population, and exposure to frequent natural disasters, contributed to the city's strong reliance on supernatural beliefs. A city under constant threat, Pompeii was no stranger to danger. Located near Mount Vesuvius, the city experienced frequent earthquakes, some of which were strong enough to damage buildings. The most severe quake, in AD 62, left much of the city in ruins, forcing residents to rebuild. Many believed these natural disasters were signs of angry gods, or supernatural forces at work. To protect themselves, Pompeians turned to rituals, prayers, and magical objects. Shrines dedicated to household gods Lares and Penates were found in nearly every home, while amulets and charms were carried to ward off bad luck. It's possible that the people of Pompeii, living in the shadow of a deadly volcano, felt a greater need for divine protection than other Roman citizens. A melting pot of beliefs. As a thriving trade hub, Pompeii attracted people from across the Mediterranean, bringing a mix of religious and magical traditions. Egyptian, Greek, and Roman influences blended together, creating a unique spiritual landscape. The worship of Isis, the Egyptian goddess of magic and protection, was particularly strong in Pompeii, as evidenced by the Grand Temple of Isis found in the city. This cultural diversity may explain why ritual objects and mystical practices were so widespread. People combined different traditions, adopting charms, spells, and magical techniques from various cultures in an effort to control their uncertain world. The everyday role of magic. Unlike modern societies that often separate religion from superstition, ancient Pompeians saw no clear distinction between official religious practices and magical rituals. a prayer to Jupiter for safety and a spell to protect one's home from thieves, were seen as equally valid. This mindset explains why magical objects were found in homes, businesses, and even public spaces. Merchants placed charms near their shops for prosperity. Actors used spells for good performances, and lovers sought magical help to attract or keep partners. In Pompeii, magic was not just for the desperate, it was an everyday tool, woven into the fabric of society. The sheer number of ritual objects in Pompeii suggests that belief in the supernatural was not just common, it was essential. Whether for protection, success, or vengeance, magic was a crucial part of life in a city constantly reminded of its own fragility. Chapter 5. Mysterious Relic Number 3 Objects Science Can't Explain. Section 1. Unidentified relics that continue to baffle experts. Pompeii is famous for its well-preserved buildings, frescoes, and everyday objects, but among the thousands of artifacts unearthed, some remain unexplained. These mysterious relics challenge historians and scientists, raising questions about lost knowledge, unknown technologies, and even the possibility of ancient superstitions influencing their design. What were these objects used for? And why do they defy conventional understanding? The enigmatic bronze discs, one of the most puzzling discoveries in Pompeii, is a collection of intricately designed bronze discs. These objects, about the size of a human hand, feature geometric patterns and small holes, yet no one knows their true purpose. Some speculate they were decorative pieces, while others believe they may have been part of a mechanical device or calendar system. Their resemblance to later medieval astrolabes, tools used for astronomy and navigation, has led some researchers to question whether they had a similar function in ancient Rome. However, no definitive explanation has been found, leaving their purpose an open mystery. Strange glass formations scattered among the ruins of Pompeii are unusual glass-like materials, unlike anything typically produced in the Roman world. These formations are thought to have been created by the extreme heat of the volcanic eruption, which melted sand and rock into unnatural shapes. However, some of these glass objects contain traces of metal, suggesting a chemical reaction that is not fully understood. Some theories propose that these materials were the result of a powerful, sudden energy burst, similar to what occurs during modern nuclear explosions. While there is no evidence of advanced technology in ancient Rome, these glass remnants continue to puzzle scientists who study volcanic and thermal effects on materials. Objects that don't belong. Archaeologists have also discovered items that seem out of place for their time period. For example, a few iron tools and weapon fragments found in Pompeii appear to have been made using techniques that were not widely used until centuries later. Some researchers believe these could have been imported from other parts of the world, but their advanced craftsmanship has raised speculation about lost metallurgical knowledge. Additionally, several small figurines and statues found in Pompeii do not match typical Roman artistic styles. Some resemble strange hybrid creatures with elongated heads and exaggerated features, leading to debate about their cultural origins. Were they representations of gods, mythical beings, or something else entirely? The existence of these unidentified relics in Pompeii suggests that we still have much to learn about ancient Roman innovation, trade, and spiritual practices. As excavation techniques and scientific analysis improve, perhaps these unsolved mysteries will one day be explained. Section 2. Mysteriously melted metals and unusual glass-like substances. Pompeii's destruction by Mount Vesuvius in AD 79 left behind not only well-preserved buildings and artifacts, but also strange materials that defy easy explanation. Among the ruins, archaeologists have uncovered melted metals, fused objects, and glass-like substances that hint at extreme temperatures and unusual chemical reactions. Some of these materials seem natural consequences of the eruption, while others raise intriguing questions about their origin and formation. Metal objects fused by extreme heat. The volcanic eruption generated temperatures exceeding 500 to 600 degrees Celsius (932 to 1112 degrees Fahrenheit), hot enough to cause wood and organic materials to ignite instantly. However, some evidence suggests that parts of the city may have been exposed to even higher temperatures, reaching over 1000 degrees Celsius (1832 degrees Fahrenheit). Archaeologists have discovered metal tools, coins, and statues fused together in ways that would typically require advanced metalworking techniques. Some iron and bronze artifacts appear partially liquefied, suggesting rapid and intense heat exposure. While volcanic eruptions can reach extreme temperatures, the manner in which some objects were distorted remains puzzling. Could this indicate localized firestorms triggered by the eruption? Or was there another unknown factor at play in the destruction of Pompeii? The formation of volcanic glass. One of the most mysterious materials found in Pompeii is a strange glass-like substance, appearing in shards and fused formations across the site. Scientists believe these formations were created when intense heat melted sand, ash, and minerals, producing an unnatural type of volcanic glass. However, some samples contain traces of metal and organic material, suggesting complex chemical reactions took place. In some areas, glassy deposits appear to have formed on human remains, leading some researchers to propose that the heat was so intense that body fat contributed to the transformation of minerals into glass, a theory that is both scientifically plausible and horrifying. Could Pompeii's glass hold hidden secrets? The glass and fused metals found in Pompeii continue to be analyzed using modern spectroscopy and chemical testing. Some theories suggest that these materials could provide insights into the eruption's exact heat levels and speed, helping volcanologists refine models of how pyroclastic flows behave. Yet, some unusual formations remain unexplained. Were they natural byproducts of the eruption, or do they hint at ancient Roman materials or processes we have yet to fully understand? As scientific tools improve, researchers hope to uncover the full story behind these melted and fused relics of Pompeii's final moments. Section 3. Are these artifacts truly beyond scientific understanding? Pompeii's strange melted metals, fused objects, and glass-like substances have long puzzled archaeologists and scientists. While many of these materials can be explained by the extreme conditions of the Mount Vesuvius eruption, some discoveries continue to challenge conventional explanations. Could these artifacts truly be beyond modern scientific understanding? Or are we simply missing key pieces of the puzzle? The science behind Pompeii's anomalies. Most of the unusual artifacts in Pompeii, such as melted metal tools and volcanic glass formations, can be attributed to the extreme heat of the eruption. Pyroclastic surges, fast-moving clouds of hot gas and volcanic debris, exposed parts of the city to temperatures exceeding 1000 degrees Celsius (1832 degrees Fahrenheit). At this level of heat, bronze melts, wood vaporizes, and minerals fuse into glass, creating formations that seem unnatural but are scientifically explainable. However, Some materials don't fit this pattern. Certain metal objects show signs of having been exposed to uneven heating, suggesting that the destruction of Pompeii was not uniform. Additionally, some fused objects, such as glass embedded with metal traces, resemble materials created in modern industrial processes, raising questions about how they could have formed in the ancient world. Lost knowledge or unexplained phenomena. One possibility is that some of these materials resulted from ancient Roman experimentation with metals, minerals, or even early forms of glass production. The Romans were advanced engineers, capable of creating concrete, aqueducts, and intricate metalwork. So it's possible that some of these unexplained artifacts were part of lost technologies. Another possibility is that our understanding of how volcanic heat interacts with different materials is still incomplete. Scientists continue to study the chemistry of extreme heat events, such as volcanic eruptions, wildfires, and even nuclear explosions, to better understand how matter behaves under extreme conditions. The unsolved mysteries remain. While modern science can explain many of the strange relics found in Pompeii, some questions remain open. Were some of these materials created by processes we don't yet fully understand? Do they suggest lost knowledge from ancient Rome? Or are they simply freak occurrences of nature, the result of conditions so extreme that they produced unexpected chemical reactions? As new technology allows researchers to analyze these artifacts in greater detail, we may one day unlock the full truth behind Pompeii's most mysterious relics. Until then, these discoveries continue to fuel both scientific curiosity and historical intrigue, proving that even a city lost for nearly 2,000 years still holds secrets waiting to be uncovered. Chapter 6. The Curse of Pompeii: Strange Events Surrounding Its Excavation. Section 1. The Eerie Misfortunes That Befell Archaeologists and Explorers. For centuries, Pompeii has fascinated archaeologists, historians, and treasure hunters. However, many who have worked at the site, or taken artifacts from it, have reported experiencing a string of eerie misfortunes. Accidents, illnesses, financial ruin, and even untimely deaths have been linked to those who disturbed the ruins. Could these be mere coincidences, or is there truly a curse of Pompeii at work? Early tragedies in Pompeii's excavation. The first large-scale excavation of Pompeii began in the 18th century, under the orders of King Charles III of Spain. However, some of the earliest explorers met unusual fates. Several workers were reportedly killed in cave-ins, while others fell mysteriously ill. Over the next century, stories of misfortunes surrounding the site continued to grow. One of the most well-known figures, archaeologist Giuseppe Fiorelli, who developed the famous plaster cast technique, suffered from deteriorating health in his later years. While his decline was likely due to natural causes, some believe that disturbing the dead came with consequences. The mysterious fate of artifact thieves. Many tourists and looters who stole artifacts from Pompeii have sent back letters begging to return the items, claiming they brought them terrible luck. Reports of people suffering from financial ruin, serious accidents, or unexplained illnesses after taking a simple piece of stone or pottery are surprisingly common. The archaeological park of Pompeii receives dozens of apology letters every year from those who believe they have been cursed. One such letter, from a man who stole a fragment of fresco, read, "Since bringing this home, my family has faced nothing but misfortune. Please take it back before something worse happens." Coincidence or supernatural revenge? Skeptics argue that these misfortunes are purely psychological. If someone believes they are cursed, They may unconsciously bring bad luck upon themselves through stress and anxiety. However, others are convinced that the spirits of Pompeii's victims still linger, punishing those who disturb their resting place. Whether real or imagined, the belief in the curse of Pompeii continues to grow. The number of returned artifacts increases every year, suggesting that many still fear the consequences of taking something from a city that met such a tragic fate. Section 2. Is the Curse of Pompeii real or just a coincidence? The so-called Curse of Pompeii has been blamed for countless misfortunes, from accidents to financial ruin. But is there any truth to this legend? Or are these stories simply coincidences fueled by fear and guilt? While some believe the spirits of Pompeii's victims seek revenge, others argue that psychology and probability offer a more rational explanation. The psychology of a curse. Many experts believe that the so-called curse is actually a result of the nocebo effect, the opposite of the placebo effect. When people believe they are cursed, their stress and anxiety levels rise, making them more prone to mistakes, accidents, and even health issues. In essence, they create their own bad luck. This effect is particularly strong when tied to guilt. Many of the tourists who stole artifacts from Pompeii later regretted their actions. Their belief in the curse may have heightened their awareness of negative events in their lives, making them feel as if they were being punished. A series of unfortunate coincidences? Skeptics argue that misfortunes happen all the time. People lose jobs, get into accidents, or fall ill for various reasons. Since thousands of tourists visit Pompeii every year, it is statistically inevitable that some will experience bad luck after their trip. The human mind, however, is wired to look for patterns and meaning, making it easy to blame the curse rather than chance. Even among archaeologists and explorers, the so-called tragedies are often explainable. Working in excavation sites carries natural risks, and illnesses or deaths that occur years later cannot logically be linked to an ancient curse. The power of belief. While there is no scientific evidence proving that Pompeii is cursed, the belief in the curse remains strong. Every year, the archaeological park of Pompeii receives dozens of packages from people returning stolen artifacts, convinced that misfortune has followed them. Whether real or imagined, the fear of the curse is enough to make many think twice before disturbing the ruins. Ultimately, the curse of Pompeii may not exist in a supernatural sense, but its psychological and cultural power is undeniable. As long as people continue to believe in it, the legend of Pompeii's vengeance will live on. Section 3. Psychological and cultural perspectives on why people believe in curses. The idea of a curse has fascinated humans for centuries, and the Curse of Pompeii is no exception. Even in an age of science and reason, people continue to fear the consequences of disturbing the ruins. But why do we believe in curses? What psychological and cultural forces make these legends so powerful? To understand this, we must explore the deep-rooted human tendency to seek meaning in misfortune. The psychology of fear and guilt. One of the strongest psychological reasons for believing in curses is fear of the unknown. Humans naturally look for explanations when bad things happen, especially when events seem sudden or unfair. When a person who stole an artifact from Pompeii later experiences misfortune, their mind instinctively searches for a cause, and the legend of the curse provides an easy answer. Another major factor is guilt. Many of the tourists who stole artifacts later felt regret. The guilt of taking something from a place of tragedy can manifest as anxiety, which can heighten the awareness of negative events. This self-fulfilling prophecy makes minor accidents or financial troubles feel like part of a larger curse. Cultural influence and media sensationalism. Throughout history, many cultures have told stories about the dangers of disturbing sacred or tragic sites, from Egyptian tomb curses to haunted battlefields. These tales warn people about the consequences of disrespecting the dead. The Pompeii curse fits into this long tradition, reinforcing the idea that some places should remain untouched. Additionally, the media plays a significant role in spreading and sustaining the curse legend. Reports of people returning stolen artifacts, combined with dramatic headlines about misfortunes, keep the myth alive. Stories of tragic deaths or eerie coincidences make for sensational news, fueling public fascination and belief in the supernatural. The need for meaning in chaos. At its core, belief in curses is about making sense of chaos. Natural disasters, accidents, and illnesses can feel random and unfair. A curse provides a simple explanation, making the world seem more predictable, even if that predictability comes in the form of supernatural punishment. The Curse of Pompeii persists not because of real supernatural forces, but because it taps into deep psychological and cultural instincts. Whether through fear, guilt, or tradition, people continue to believe, proving that some legends never die. Chapter 7. Conclusion: Are Pompeii's relics truly cursed? Section 1. A recap of the most baffling discoveries. The ruins of Pompeii have given us an unparalleled glimpse into ancient Roman life. Yet they have also left us with unsettling mysteries. From inexplicable artifacts to eerie legends, Pompeii is not just a city of history, it is a city of unanswered questions. As we conclude our journey, let's revisit some of the most baffling discoveries that continue to puzzle archaeologists, scientists, and historians alike. The haunting human casts. Few images from Pompeii are as unforgettable as the plaster casts of its victims. People frozen in their final, desperate moments. While early archaeologists saw them as tragic figures, modern research has revealed disturbing details about their deaths. Studies suggest that many were not suffocated by ash, as once believed, but instantly killed by extreme heat, with their bodies vaporized from within. The terrifying phenomenon of cadaveric spasm, which caused some victims to appear contorted in pain, only adds to the haunting nature of these figures. Despite scientific explanations, the emotional impact of these casts remains profound. They serve as a stark reminder of how suddenly and mercilessly Pompeii was destroyed. Unexplained artifacts and mysterious materials. Pompeii's ruins have yielded thousands of everyday objects, yet some defy explanation. Among the most puzzling finds are melted metal tools fused together, suggesting temperatures even higher than typical volcanic heat. Glass-like substances, possibly created by the eruption, but containing chemical compositions that scientists still struggle to fully explain. Unusual figurines and magical amulets, whose true meanings and origins remain unknown. These discoveries raise questions about lost technologies, unknown trade connections, and forgotten rituals. Could some of these objects hint at a deeper understanding of materials and science than we previously thought? The Curse of Pompeii, myth or reality? Beyond the physical mysteries, Pompeii carries a reputation for misfortune. Archaeologists, explorers, and even tourists have reported strange illnesses, accidents, and financial ruin after disturbing the ruins. The legend of the Curse of Pompeii continues to spread, with many returning stolen artifacts in fear of supernatural punishment. Whether the curse is psychological, coincidental, or something more, It remains one of Pompeii's most persistent and unsettling mysteries. From inexplicable relics to chilling stories, Pompeii is far from a solved mystery. Each excavation uncovers new questions rather than answers, proving that even a city buried for nearly 2,000 years can still surprise us. Section 2. Scientific versus supernatural explanations. Pompeii is a place where science and mystery collide. While modern research has provided explanations for many of its baffling discoveries, some phenomena continue to fuel supernatural speculation. Was everything that happened in Pompeii a result of natural forces and human psychology? Or is there something beyond science at play? In this section, we examine both perspectives, scientific reasoning and supernatural beliefs, to determine what truly lies beneath the ruins. The scientific perspective: rational explanations for Pompeii's mysteries. Science has played a crucial role in uncovering the truth behind Pompeii's most unsettling findings. Here are some examples of how research has demystified the city's most famous phenomena. The plaster casts and their strange poses, initially thought to be people dying in agony. Modern forensic analysis suggests that their positions were caused by extreme heat-induced muscle contractions. Victims were not suffering for long periods, but were likely killed instantly by pyroclastic surges exceeding 500 degrees Celsius (932 degrees Fahrenheit). The mysterious glass formations. Some speculated these materials were unnatural, but scientific testing confirmed that the extreme heat of the eruption melted minerals and metals together, forming volcanic glass. The Curse of Pompeii. Psychologists argue that the belief in the curse is a result of the nocebo effect. When people expect bad things to happen, they become hyper-aware of misfortunes and interpret them as supernatural punishment. The supernatural perspective. Unexplained anomalies and legends. Despite scientific advancements, some aspects of Pompeii continue to intrigue those who believe in supernatural forces. The curse phenomenon persists. Every year, the Pompeii Archaeological Park receives packages from tourists returning stolen artifacts, convinced that their bad luck is tied to the ruins. Some claim they experienced ghostly encounters, nightmares, or bizarre coincidences that defy explanation. Unusual energy and paranormal reports. Visitors and researchers alike have reported eerie sensations, feelings of being watched, and unexplained temperature drops in certain areas of the site. Some believe the intense emotional trauma of Pompeii's destruction left a lasting spiritual imprint on the city. Artifacts that still baffle scientists. While most objects have been explained, some metallic fusions, glass-like substances, and peculiar figurines still leave room for debate. Were they simply products of a violent eruption? Or do they hint at forgotten knowledge and rituals? Can science and mystery coexist? While scientific reasoning debunks many myths, Pompeii remains a deeply emotional and enigmatic place, whether one believes in rational explanations or unseen forces. The city's tragic fate and well-preserved ruins continue to evoke wonder, fear, and fascination. The line between science and superstition is often blurred, and in a place like Pompeii, the two may always coexist. Section 3. Will the mysteries of Pompeii ever be fully solved? Pompeii is one of the most extensively studied archaeological sites in the world. Yet it remains full of unanswered questions. Every excavation uncovers new artifacts, hidden structures, and strange anomalies, proving that the city has not yet revealed all its secrets. But will we ever reach a point where everything about Pompeii is fully understood? Or will some mysteries always remain beyond our grasp? What we still don't know. Despite centuries of research, there are still many unsolved aspects of Pompeii, including unexplained artifacts. Some objects, such as fused metal tools and unique glass-like materials, still lack definitive explanations. Were they simply products of extreme volcanic heat, or do they suggest unknown ancient techniques? The final moments of many victims. While some casts provide clear evidence of heat exposure, others remain ambiguous. Did some survive the initial eruption, only to perish days later? Were there last-minute escape attempts we have yet to uncover? Hidden sections of the city. Only 2/3 of Pompeii has been fully excavated. What lies beneath the untouched layers of ash? Could there be hidden documents, lost treasures, or even entire undiscovered districts? The role of modern technology. Advancements in science are helping researchers uncover more than ever before. Technologies like 3D scanning, litter light detection and ranging, and DNA analysis are revolutionizing how we study Pompeii. Some breakthroughs include digital reconstructions of homes, streets, and even individual faces based on skeletal remains, genetic studies revealing the ancestry and health conditions of Pompeii's residents, non-invasive ground surveys, detecting hidden structures without disturbing the site. With these innovations, we may soon answer some of Pompeii's biggest questions. But some mysteries may remain unsolvable. The eternal allure of Pompeii's mysteries. Even if we could scientifically explain every artifact and event, would we really want to? Part of Pompeii's magic lies in the unknown, the lingering possibilities of lost knowledge, forgotten rituals, and tragic final moments frozen in time. As long as Pompeii continues to capture human imagination, its mysteries will never truly die. Some answers may come, but others will remain buried, perhaps forever. If you found this video helpful or interesting, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel.